I'll give James Gunn this much. His take on Superman is totally unlike anything we've ever seen before on film. It really couldn't be more different from the Snyderverse films, which attempted to reinvent the character for a more cynical age, or the lower-key Richard Donner movies, and by extension, Bryan Singer's Superman Returns. In this version, Gunn has brought to life a sprawling canvas featuring armies of metahumans, some of whom we meet in the movie, pocket universes, and yes, giant kaiju. It throws in everything but the kitchen sink, and that turns out to be a mixed blessing. So in this one, a plot by Lex Luthor, who's played by Nicholas Hoult, causes the people of Earth to question whether Superman, played by David Corenswet, is truly their protector, sending the hero into an existential crisis over his place on his adopted planet. Now, the best thing that could be said about Gunn's Superman is that it's very tightly edited, never dull, and not as reliant on world building as the MCU movies are. It seems that Gunn has learned some lessons given how people are reacting nowadays to the Marvel movies, where they seem kind of tired of each movie just kind of leading to the next one. But it's also overloaded with massive, repetitive CGI-heavy action sequences, and it's also missing one very vital ingredient for a Superman movie: the man behind the cape. You see, Clark Kent is barely present, and the romantic relationship with Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane is treated as an afterthought. Indeed, the two share little to no chemistry. Superman comes across like a lovesick puppy with a crush on Lois, no more than that, while she seems far too world-weary to ever fall for someone like him. The mix is off. When we're together, you never, for an instant, feel like they're actually in love, and that's something that's essential to the Superman mythos. I hesitate to blame Brosnahan, who likely would have delivered more emotionally if the material had given her anything to work with, but her screen time is so limited. Instead, the film focuses almost exclusively on Superman facing one invincible threat after another. David Corenswet certainly looks the part, but he doesn't bring the humanity to the role that Christopher Reeve did, or even Brandon Routh. It's all very surface level. Sure, there are scenes in the movie where he's upset and he wants to protect humanity, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem real to me. He just doesn't have any pathos. I mean, Tom Welling was a better Superman. Heck, Henry Cavill and Brandon Routh, those were all better Superman, I think, than David Corenswet is, because they gave them actually something to work with. And I just feel like he has nothing to do but react to kind of CGI monsters that are coming at him. He's essentially there to power through action scenes, and while he definitely might grow into the role in future installments, he doesn't really seem to possess the star quality you'd expect from somebody playing the Man of Steel. Gunn also packs the film with cringeworthy humor that mostly falls flat. A recurring, tiresome gag centers around Lex Luthor's girlfriend, Miss Tessmacher, who, as we see in the film, is kind of an Instagrammer who's always taking selfies of herself and seems to be kind of a dig at TikTokers, but I don't know, it doesn't land at all. Although, I did get something of a kick out of the fact that Jimmy Olsen in this movie, as played by Skylar Gisondo, is presented as this kind of can't-miss ladies' man despite being so boyish looking. But I have to say, the movie is so overloaded with cast members that Clark's Daily Planet colleagues barely register, although Wendell Pierce does make the most of his limited screen time as Perry White. The rest of them are just around for comic relief, in a movie that's already packed way too much comic relief for my tastes. Beck Bennett especially is very annoying in this film. So what really works? Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor comes the closest. While it would have been easy for him to play a generic evil tech bro, Hoult embodies Lex with a certain fragility and seething anger that actually kind of feels fresh for the character. While he doesn't have the charisma of Michael Rosenbaum, who's still the gold standard, in my opinion, for on-screen Lex Luthor, his rage towards Superman's physical power and his obsessive need to dominate him are pretty well conveyed. I also really enjoyed Anthony Carrigan in this movie, who shows some genuine pathos as Metamorpho, a character forced into servitude, and Frank Grillo does a solid job setting up Rick Flagg's future in the new DCU, even though his role is very small. So, how about the Justice Gang? Edie Garthigi has probably the most prominent role as Mr. Terrific, while Isabella Merced's Hawk Girl is mostly regulated to the action sequences. One character who surprisingly fares fairly well is Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner / Green Lantern, who's less obnoxious than he appeared in the trailers and gets a few good moments. Some people really may not like this take on the character, but he's actually kind of memorable, I have to say, and Fillion is a good actor, he makes it work. Other elements will likely be hit and miss with audiences. Krypto is featured very prominently throughout, arguably getting more screen time than many of the characters you think would matter more. At times, Krypto seems to have more to do than Lois does. Gunn's trademark rock needle drops also feel like leftovers from Guardians of the Galaxy, but are not used as effectively here. Meanwhile, a side plot involving Kal-El's parents feels downright bizarre, although it's clearly meant to set up future installments, and is probably the one area that this movie actually does try to ape Marvel in that they leave something open for the next movie. The movie doesn't end on a cliffhanger, but I mean, you could see how this is going to lead exactly into Supergirl. So it'll be interesting to see how audiences respond to James Gunn's Superman. I'll give him credit, he takes a big swing and delivers a radically different take on the character. But for me, the movie gets bogged down in spectacle and completely lacks the warmth, humanity, and emotional depth that Superman needs in order to resonate with modern viewers the way he once did for past generations. And I give it a kind of depressing 6 out of 10. This was a movie that I really wanted to be great, and I cannot honestly tell you guys that it's great. Might want to watch it again, see how I feel. Maybe I'll like it more next time. Maybe I'll absolutely hate it, but I don't know. It just was very much not quite what I was expecting, and I have to say, I was disappointed.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.